Billy Two Wolves. Welcome. Am I on? Can you hear me? I'm not really an Indian. You know that, don't you? But I love children and I love people. I love to be lighthearted. And I love good, solid foundations. And I think that the more that we can spend quality time together and learn to appreciate the real culture of our land, which is a mixture of between all the Europeans that come here and the Native Americans that were here. And I don't like to rattle old bones about how bad somebody did the Indians or whatever. That's not what it's all about. I found out in my 69 years of life, and that's a lot of years, that there's a little boy that lives inside of me that likes to come out and play. And I think all of the grown-ups will tell you that there's a little girl or a little boy that lives inside of all of us that wants to come out and play from time to time. You ought to let him. Nothing wrong with that. Most people are way too serious about what's going on, and they take themselves too serious, and life is not all that serious. It's about loving, respecting, and having fun. Every time I get a chance to talk with young people, I like to make respect the central issue of whatever I'm talking about. And I find a lot of that in the Indian traditions.
Billy, let me ask the children, do they know what respect means? Who knows what respect means? Who'd like to?
I'll bet they do.
Oh, I'm good.
Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think respect means. Come on, Thomas. You just your best shot. You're not gonna get a A or B or failing grade. What do you think? What does respect mean to you?
That's a hard one, isn't it? Yeah, it is, Dave. That's awful hard to hit a guy
that's
with.
Okay. We're going to learn a little bit about what respect means, because Billy Two Wolves is going to share some things from his heart to help you understand what respect really means.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say this, that I usually start my little Indian shows by saying welcome to the campfire of my heart. I don't have a campfire in my heart, do I? But I've got a warm heart, so that's what I mean. Welcome to the campfire of my heart. Welcome to the garden of my soul. And that's where I welcome you. My name, my tribal name, is Billy Two Wolves. And I'd like to tell you how I got that name. The Indians years ago didn't have schools like we know schools today. The way they learned was there was usually one elder, one old man in the tribe that was too old to go out and fight anymore, and he was too old to take the young ones on hunting trips, so he would become the storyteller of the clan or the tribe. And the way the children would learn was they would go visit the old man, and we can call him the storyteller of the family. And he would tell stories. Some of the stories were cute. They were about the rabbits and the squirrels and the birds that just made the children laugh. See, they didn't have VCRs back then. And storytelling has been with us since the caveman days. That's how people used to entertain each other. It hasn't been very long that everybody's had their own television and their own remote control. In the old days, people would listen to the elders. And they would listen with respect for this reason. They learned how to live life in a good way. And I'm going to tell you how I got my name, Billy Two Wolves, and you'll understand. One day, the chief was to teach a class or give a talk to the children, much like we're doing today. And the children gathered, and they knew there was something special going to be talked about that night, but they didn't know what. And the old man, you know how old people are, the old chiefy stirred the fire and then he'd quiet down until all of the children were just really anxious to find out what the story was going to be about. Well, the old man said, everybody got quiet. He said, inside of me lives two wolves, and they fight. They fight all the time. They fight night and day. Inside of you lives two wolves, and they fight night and day. Inside of you lives two wolves, and they fight all the time. One wolf was a good wolf. He was kind and he was caring and concerned about other people, and so I just named him Love. And the other wolf was full of me, mine, and I named him Ego. So these two wolves live inside of every one of us. And the children sat and they listened to their grandfather tell about the wolves that were fighting. And I was sitting about like you are for my grandfather, and he stopped talking. Old men are bad about that. He just stopped talking. And I knew there had to be more to the story, you know. So after he didn't speak for a while, I grew in faces and I said, Grandfather, what about the wolves that were fighting? Which wolf will win? And he smiled at me and he looked at me and he said, my son, the wolf that you feed is the wolf that will win. Now there's a deep moral to that story that applies to grown-ups as well as children. What those children learned from that story is this, that you each have an ego and you each have a good side. And the side that you pay more attention to, or the side that you feed, is the way that you will become. And if you grow up and you feed the wrong side, you're not going to be able to live life in a really happy way. So they named me Billy Two Wolves. And that's been my tribal name ever since. And I like that because it's always on my mind that inside of me there does live two wolves. So I let the little boy come out and play. Now listen, I'm going to tell you a couple of Indian stories, and